Hi guys, and welcome to reading 50 books in 50 days. This is episode 5. We're nearing the very end, and so let's just jump right in. So now for context, this week is going to be an audiobook only week. So all the books I'll be reading in the span of this week of the challenge, I'll be doing only audiobooks because I've been really busy and I have a lot of work to catch up on. And the best way I think of doing so while still continuing the challenge is by going ahead and listening to my fun little audiobooks out and getting my errands done at the same time. For context, if you aren't already aware, I am continuing my 50 books in 50 days mini-series that actually started last year, and because I had started it over short form content and then got burnt out within the first week, I switched over to long form. And because in long form I can't do like 50 books in 50 days in one big video because that'd be really boring for y'all, I'm breaking it up into the span of week by week to kind of hit the 50 books target. So basically it's going to be 7 weeks of continuous reading one book every single day to hit our 50 books, and this is actually week 5. So we are nearing the end, like I said, and it's so crazy, it's so wild that, you know, one summer later literally we'll finally be done, which is why this week we're locking in and we're doing that. I will be listening to new audiobooks, like I said, so if that's not really your cup of tea, this is probably the time you should leave, because otherwise I don't want the video to be boring for you or whatnot. But if you do want to stay, we're continuing a few series today. We're reading basically every single genre because I already know what I want to get to in this vlog, and so that's what we're doing. I was supposed to post the previous video for this week yesterday night, but by the time it got done saving, it was about 4:30 in the morning, and I am a night owl, but my eyes were getting droopy to the point where I figured I'd put it off until today. So right now the goal is I'm gonna pick up the first book for this video, kind of start listening on audio, make my thumbnail for that video, post it, and as I'm doing all of that, I also want to start working on the week's assignments, because on the group chat, my professors for college, they end up posting every single assignment you're supposed to be getting to in the span of a week. And the thing is, it's not really cheating, but I personally like getting them done as fast as I can, so I have the rest of the week free to do other subjects and whatnot, which is why we've already got the list in today. I want to lock in and do some of my work as well, and finish a couple assignments, hopefully get on track of everything. And what better way to do so than listening to a fun little romance audiobook that I'm in the mood for. So I'm gonna go pick it up, I'm gonna go start working, post my video, get my thumbnail done, hopefully finish all of that out and get like a fun book out of the way too, which is why that's the plan for day 1 today. And it is a Monday, so we have quite the week ahead of us, which will hopefully be great because I have so many fun books planned that it's gonna be wild anyway, which is why here we are. Let's just hop right in. I'll start my book and I'll come give you updates when I have any, but that's the plan. Hi guys, and welcome to the very next day. So it's day 2. Technically I should be speaking about the second book for this video and whatnot, but we're still on the first. So to catch you up, basically I did everything that I said I would. Yesterday I stayed up till really late in the night, was making my thumbnail, finishing up college stuff and whatnot, getting everything ready for today's day of college. And in the middle of everything, my audiobook ran out, so I started a different one, the one for today. But in the middle of everything, yeah, I did manage to finish this book. It's called The Wingman. It's the third in the Vancouver Storm series. I think it was like a very obvious pick for me, and I finished it. So that was day 1's book basically, and now that was yesterday. So to catch you up on everything about this, you watched my previous episode in the series. I literally ended that episode off on reading the previous book in this series, and I was just like, I need to continue and see where this specific couple goes, because they were introduced in the last book and there were like crumbs skirting around, but it was like a very dangerous, almost precarious situation where you have to actually figure out what's going down. And this one is a little bit fast forwarded from the end of that timeline, but then it shows you what you were kind of expecting for these people. Basically, you follow this girl called Darcy. She's just gotten out of like an 8-year-long relationship with her boyfriend, who she feels like was like dragging her down and stuff. And now while she is kind of like heartbroken over it, you don't see any of that, but she's heartbroken about the fact that she changed and adapted for someone who didn't deserve all of that time wasted on him. Now she figures she wants to throw herself back into the deep end of like the dating pool again, because she still has hopes for love and whatnot. She still wants to experience it again, and what better way to do so than by getting expert advice, I guess, from Hayden, who's like a mutual friend of both of them and whatnot, because they used to all go to college together. So he's technically Kit's best friend, but he's also her best friend. And before they got together and whatnot, the two of them, Kit and Darcy, all 3 of them used to be in a little gang amongst themselves. So now looking back, Kit is in a different ice hockey team, and Hayden is in a different one. So she ends up moving in with Hayden as she's sorting her life out, trying to figure out how to move on from this 8-year-old like relationship that just broke up. She's moving in with him, but she's also asking him, because he's like the biggest player ever, for like advice to become a player herself, so she can have almost like these flings and whatnot, something meaningless to pass the time and just have fun, because she didn't get to have that for like literally a decade at this point. Except as she's becoming her wingman and teaching her how to literally have fun, they're doing more than just like teaching each other stuff. They're like going into almost relationship territory, because she's like helping him pick out furniture for his apartment, and he's like having her wear his jersey to his games that he's bought for her. And in the middle of everything else, they realize that maybe they're meant for more and whatnot, because number one, they're roommates now that she shifted into his apartment, and number two, he has always loved her since day one of college, and so that's like 8 years of suppressing his feelings, and now that he finally has a shot, he's gonna take it. So instead of becoming the wingman, he was literally waiting for his turn, and now that it's here, he's not gonna mess up. Except again, there's like a lot of complications that come with that, and that's basically the storyline. And so in the middle of everything, as he's giving her all these like lessons and whatnot, becoming her wingman, teaching her stuff, he's also like getting jealous over other guys trying to get with her and whatnot, and you know, where everything else that comes with that. And I think it's really sweet. He's definitely a big golden retriever. The energy is great, but again, this book feels almost like a copy-paste version of the first two books in the series with different tropes thrown in, and there's nothing wrong with that. These are definitely great to get through, and I'm always intrigued to see what's coming next. It's just this one specifically rubbed me a little bit wrong, because she gets out of an 8-year relationship and then within 1 month she wants to start dating again, and there's nothing wrong with that, good for you, but that just feels weird to me, because there's no like signs of heartbreak or anything. She's just really pissed off at Kit, and so that did not feel very valid and well-rounded. Got to mention this, but in these books specifically for this series, it almost feels like the author's kind of giving the characters this sort of like almost like insecurity to add like depth to the story, but it just never works, especially in the last couple books, and then this one as well. This one especially, because like he gets called a player, but he's not necessarily a player at heart. He just feels like used by everyone, but he's gonna mask it up with his golden retriever energy, and I think it's okay. It does make sense, but the way it was carried out was not my favorite again. He's more of like a relationship guy, he just doesn't pursue it, and so lots of conflicting theories going on, and that's been happening throughout the series. But I'm still ready to read the next book, because it almost, this one, it advertises for the next one, and it's gonna follow the Russian with marriage of convenience trope, which is my favorite ever, so I'm gonna get to it anyway. It's just, this is something I spotted with all of the books in the series, and I wanted to mention. Another thing that felt off to me was like that dynamic right from the very beginning, because you know he likes her in these books, especially this series. It's been established that the guys always like the girls from the very beginning, so I feel like the liking bits are always rushed into, but then the scenes that you know you get in the middle, almost as montage building up to the relationship, that's very dragged out. So the pacing of this felt a little bit off as well, but overall it was a quick read. It was a fun time. I cannot wait to get to the next one now, because at this point I'm just binging the series. I'm gonna be so disappointed when like the last book comes out and I have to finish it and you know cry myself back to sleep, because these are good. They're like popcorn romances almost. You finish it in a day, nothing great, nothing too heavy on the head, but it's still cute, because like there were a couple great scenes in here as well. The two of them, they're like fantasy book lovers, the same series, so they're getting nerdy over that. He's getting fan casted to play the guy in the movie and whatnot for that series, and then in the midst of everything she gets to meet her favorite actors on set because they have this party they attend. And then there's like this other scene wherein he's got this grandma who actually gifted him this gnome that keeps like haunting him because he hates the look of it, so she has this thing wherein she places it in different spots around the apartment to like freak him out, and it's all sweet overall. It's just sometimes I feel like the relationship did not necessarily work for me, because you do know he likes her, but there's no like build up to the like. I like the scenes wherein you get to watch the people falling in love, not already in love, and then the whole thing with her relationship and stuff, the way that was handled was good, except the feelings that came with it and whatnot. So overall I'm a little mixed and iffy on this, but I still really like the dynamic and I had a good time. And listen, it went by fast, so who am I to complain? So I'm gonna give this like another 3.5 stars. Very cookie cutter, very basic, but then sometimes you need to revert back to like good old rom-coms like this in a break from like another higher powered kind of book and whatnot. And then also it's kind of like a palette cleanser, so it works every single time and it'll get you giggling anyway. And I thought this was really cool because she like wanted to dye her hair purple, and when I was younger I wanted to, now I don't, but also could relate to that, so that was fun overall. Now moving on from this book, I did also go ahead and start a different book last night because I still had the time and whatnot, considering the fact that it was literally up till like 3:30 in the morning that I was awake. So this got done, I said a thriller because what else is going to hold my attention? Except the thing is, today in the morning I was actually commuting with my friend because we wanted to like catch up and stuff, and so it's very rude if I'd plug in my AirPods and like listen to my audiobook rather than catch up with her, because we haven't met each other for like half a month at this point and whatnot, which is why I didn't get most of my reading done the way I do on my commute to college and back. And the funniest part is, by the time we actually got to college, lectures were cancelled anyway, so we were basically spending the entire like morning, afternoon and whatnot in the college carnival that they've organized, and then on the road outside because there's like a bunch of like places you can go visit and whatnot. And in the middle of everything, got back home late, went to literally bed immediately. I wanted a nap so bad because I was so tired, and so now that I have woken up from my nap, I feel refreshed enough to continue. And so I'm really happy I switched up genres and picked a thriller specifically, because otherwise I don't know what would hold my attention, which is why that's what I'm going to continue reading right now, and then that's what I'll finish tonight for book 2 of this challenge. But yeah, now I'll see you directly tomorrow for day 3 and whatnot, and hopefully that'll be fun too, because I am so excited to see where this thriller goes. I'm actually having the best time with it, and listen, already this challenge is really cool. So see you guys in a bit. There's no college tomorrow, so I can literally take all the time in the world reading my books, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I have like a fun night ahead, take you guys along with me, but those are the plans right now, and that's what I'll continue doing, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, and welcome to day 3 of the challenge. I did stay up last night and continue listening to my thriller book that I was reading, and I'm done with it at this point. So to kind of update you on yesterday's book, I finished reading this one called Hidden Pictures. It's really popular online, if you've probably heard of it, because like anywhere you go, this has been recommended under supernatural, like thriller and horror, and so I thought I'd try the genre for once, and it was not bad. That's what I'll say. For a quick premise and whatnot, we're basically following this girl called Mallory. There's something that happens in her life, this whole series of events that kind of derails it, because otherwise she's like every basic teenager you'd meet, but because that stuff happens back to back, she ends up in rehab. And so as she's actually getting out of rehab, she's trying to find her life back on track, kind of discover a new normal. Her sponsor actually helps her find this babysitting job in this like really nice part of the town and whatnot, with these like almost like wealthy parents and whatnot for their 5-year-old son. And so she ends up going there, kind of gets the job and whatnot, and so she's babysitting for Caroline and I think Ted Maxwell's son. And the thing is, it's sweet, it's fine, the neighborhood is great, she's having like fun, kind of running around, kind of getting back into her spirits, staying physically and mentally fit and whatnot, but also hanging out with the kid and just finding like the new routine again, especially after everything else that happened in her past. But as she's starting to get in the groove of things with the kid Teddy, don't get me wrong, Teddy is really sweet and whatnot. He does these things wherein he's got like a sketchbook and like coloring pencils and stuff, and he makes all these like sweet cute drawings and whatnot, and you know, it's like the regular kid stuff, except you know, at some point it changes and suddenly it doesn't stay the same anymore, because one day he makes this like one drawing that catches Mallory off guard. It's of this man dragging a lifeless body of a woman down the ditch and whatnot, and suddenly she's wondering what's going on, because she thinks that these drawings that Teddy's making now, because they're interspersed, sometimes he's making his regular kiddish drawings, but sometimes he's making all of these specific drawings that Mallory actually believes are clues leading up to solving some sort of murder mystery. And the thing is, they're nothing like his own personal art style, they're very realistic, they're very specific to that one scene. So there's like, you know, the body getting dumped into the ditch and then the ditch being covered up and then all these other things going on, and suddenly it's really frightening, because that's like a 5-year-old sweet little kid. How does he have that in his head, and why is he making such drawings? And so that's going down. At some point she starts hearing stuff from his room and whatnot, noises and things, and he's got like an imaginary best friend, so she thinks it could do with that. She's getting mailed a bunch of other random drawings in the little outhouse that she lives in, and there's weird stuff going on overall, and so she's trying to get to the bottom of it and whatnot, because she truly thinks that it could tie into other things. So there's that plot line. There's also a different plot line going on wherein there's this like neighborhood urban legend and whatnot that she thinks it connects to, because in the outhouse that she does live, that they've given her to stay in as she's babysitting and whatnot, that place has like different stories going around town of like being haunted and stuff, because its previous occupant or someone like that was killed in there and something like that, and they never found the body. So she thinks that these two could be connected, but at the same time she's not really sure. So there's like a medium living next door. She's trying to get help from her. She's trying to figure out what's going on. She meets this like neighborhood boy who's ready to help hell in the middle of everything. You're just truly trying to figure out how all of it adds up because it doesn't really make sense. And all I'll say is overall, this story was creepy in this like atmospheric way. If you want a good thriller that keeps you on the edge of your toes, yeah, I would say pick this one up. But for me personally, I will be honest, I should not have heard this on audio. I should have read it on Kindle because I was not aware, but these drawings that the kid is making, they're actually in the book, so you can like look at them. And now I feel like I missed out on the experience of that because I think that definitely could have added on to it and that would have been fun. Another thing is, I don't necessarily believe in the supernatural. That's my own like opinion and whatnot. And so this definitely had me suspending my own belief system, which is why, again, it's really up to personal interpretation if you like the book or if you don't. So at some bits I was creeped out, yeah, but I thought there would be like a different explanation. And yeah, by the end of the time where we finished off on the book, all I'll say is I've read like over 700 books in my lifetime at the moment at least, and this book is like nothing else I've ever read because the plot twist you get at the very end, the main reason behind it all and whatnot, it definitely threw me off. But it's not something you'll have read in any other book. There is literally no chance because it's just so out of the box. It's not random, it does make sense and it does tie in with everything. It was done really smartly. But yeah, it's not something you would get in a basic thriller, so that's definitely something you can look out for. It's just, there's a couple of things about it that did not sit right with me, especially in the big like confrontation, because it definitely felt like this book was trying to push some sort of political agendas and political almost propaganda on you. So again, it's really up to you if you want to read it or not. It's just that bit really pissed me off too because I'm reading this book for escapism. It's supposed to be fiction and the things, the way they were discussed did not sit right with me, but here we are anyway. I have gone ahead and finished and I am giving this 4 stars. So apart from all these criticisms, if they didn't really exist in a perfect better world, I'm sure this could have been 5. It's just for right now it wasn't. So moving on, it was still fine, it was still okay. I still had like a good time reading and I'm still in a thriller mood, so it's overall fine. It didn't put me in a slump. I had a good time reading, especially like the initial bits because I was getting a little freaked out by the random shit that was going down and trying to piece together the mystery. And I feel like the way it does come together in the end, it will blow your mind regardless. And so that was fun overall. Also, there is a bit of gaslighting thrown in there because you're trying to figure out how current events also connect to Mallory's past and what actually went down, those events that lead her into rehab because she's still like a teenager. So what really went down and if she can be trusted and if she's like an unreliable narrator, because there's certain things again that make you kind of not believe her. It's like gaslighting but also manipulation, and so there's that plot line going down. And she is very religious in her beliefs. That family that she's babysitting for, they're very scientific in their beliefs, so they don't necessarily believe her when she comes up with the reasoning that she does, and she's conducting all these like seances and things to kind of figure out the truth. And then there's also that going down, so you're wondering who to believe. And overall it's just like a really good manipulative book if you want to read one. Moving on now, I'm still in a thriller mood, so I did go ahead and start today's book, day 3, another thriller, and this one I've been looking forward to for over a week at this point, so I'm so happy I got to it. I have only heard 1 hour at this point, so I definitely do need to go and lock in, but now I'll be having dinner first and then I'll be doing that. So tonight the plans are I'll be listening to the audiobook. Since it's halfway into the month of Jan, I'll finally be taking our Christmas tree down because I know that sounds sad, but it's also the new year. We're not really in the mood for it anymore, so I'm thinking that tonight now after dinner, as I'm going ahead and listening to my book, I'll do that with the tree and kind of finish it out. And overall I think I'll just see you guys tomorrow directly. So until then, let's pray that my current thriller read, I hope it's not as conflicting as this one made me feel, and yeah, hopefully things are good overall because I'm just looking for a good book that kind of spooks me out and makes me feel crazy shit and the ending like kind of hits me in the face, because that's what I really judge thrillers by, if the ending got me. And well, I'm just hoping that this one does me good because I've been looking forward to it for a little bit. It's on my anticipated books and I'm finally reading it now and I'm having the best time already, so let's just hope it continues that way. Hi guys, and welcome to day 4 now directly. I don't think I updated you on like yesterday's book, so we'll catch up on that and then move on to today's, because the way I've got so much progress in at this point, it's kind of wild. We're getting all of this done by tonight, but basically to catch you up, because yesterday I was still in like a crime thriller sort of mood, I ended up picking up the next book in the Natural series because I started that last week and it was so good, the series, that I just knew I had to jump into the next one right away. And so this one's called Killer Instinct. Finish it out in like like 2 sittings. I wish I was joking because this was so good. Basically, it's like a continuation of what happens towards the end of the Naturals. There's like a little bit of time skip, and then you just watch the same characters. And basically, for like a quick premise, you follow these teenagers that have been recruited by the FBI because they have these like incredible like skills that can be used to solve cold cases of like murders and stuff. So there's like a lie detector, there's like a couple of human profilers, and then there's like so many other people going down there, and they're like kind of teaming up to use their skills to kind of crack these cases. Except in this book specifically, it's a copycat serial killer who emerges, and this person is actually copying a different serial killer who kind of links to one of these natural kids, one of their past history backgrounds. And so you're trying to figure out who it is, what their motives are, why they're replicating that one person's crimes, and what they're getting out of it total. And so in the middle of everything, you go about with these set of characters trying to figure out all these like key details, but something keeps happening that throws it off, and that makes the profile incomplete in some sort of way because things are not adding up, especially the clues you're getting. So basically, this book, you need to figure out who the person is before that person gets to them because of like the mind games they're playing and whatnot, and so they don't fall in that trap. And all I'll say is, can the author please write like 1000 books in these people's perspectives, because I'm so obsessed. As soon as I finish this series, I'm starting the other one by this author, The Inheritance Games, because this one, I'm telling you, I don't think I've been able to think about anything apart from this in the past few days, and I've been so tempted to start Criminal Minds because of it, because I've heard this is very similar to that show, and if this is great, then that should be amazing too. And so already had the best time ever. I did not guess what really happened. There was one thing towards the end that I did end up guessing, but apart from that, I didn't guess most of it. And so regardless of whether that happened or not, I was still on the edge of my seat. I still couldn't wait to see how it would go down, and I had like the best time ever. And all I'll say is 4.5 stars. Again, easy. Can't wait to start the next one. I'm already like so disappointed because we are already like halfway through this series, and I don't know what I'll do once this is all over. But that was this book. The best time ever. If you haven't picked up the series, what are you doing? It's literally perfect if you're like in a slump, or if you want like a quick book to finish in like the span of one evening, because they go by so fast and they're so like incredibly paced and interesting. And the author, she's got like a degree in like criminal psychology, so she's using that to trick your minds and play with it. And all I'll say is, had the best time ever. As I was listening to this, I did not end up putting our tree away. I actually ended up reading journaling, because by the time that I did go ahead and get started on the tree and whatnot, everyone in the house was asleep because it was like really late at night, and I didn't know where those storage bags were, because we're gonna have it stored away for the rest of the year, and they need to be stored accordingly in those bags. I do it every single year. It's just I wasn't aware where the bags were kept, and I'm not gonna wake anyone up to ask. So the plan was essentially a reading journal, because I do want to be posting that video for this week's video, kind of flipping through my reading journal that I did last year, catching you up on my spread and set out for this year. And so I was catching up on that. I still haven't finished, so maybe we'll do some more of that tonight. But now I do need to go and work on the tree, like actually, because I found out where the bags were. So that's the goal for today evening. Today night, I did end up finishing this book out as I was journaling, and then listening to 1.5 hours of today's book, which means we already have some great progress in. All I'm going to do is lock in on today's, hopefully get it done in the next few hours as well, and get the tree done. And then after that, we'll continue working on the reading journal. And I think those are the plans for the evening, because I don't really have like assignments to work on at the moment, at least, which is why here we are. That's what I'm going to be doing. And now I'll see you guys in a little bit once I have the next book complete, because we're on a roll. I have such a good feeling we're getting done tonight, like before time and whatnot, and then we can have like an early start on tomorrow's book, which is making me feel so productive. And so hopefully that's the way things go. That's what I'm gonna go do right now, and I'll see you guys hopefully in a bit once I have the next book done. But so far, already so good, and I'm so happy with the progress. Hi guys, so it's much later. It is the same day, it's right before dinner that I'm coming in to update that I finished our book for today. So first time I'm actually being able to stay on track with the goals, and I'm speaking about the same day's book within the same day, but it's happened. So I came to update because throughout the entire evening, all I've done is lock in and listen to it, and now I'm finally done. So we can talk about that. I'll have dinner, and then I'll lock in again tonight and start early on tomorrow's book, and that way we're going to be on a roll so that we can actually finish this challenge on time. But basically, to catch you up, all evening as I've been listening, first I ended up putting the Christmas tree stuff away, the decor and everything, packing it up. After that, there was a couple errands I needed to run, and then just now I was working on my reading journal because I needed it done in time for that video. And all I'm gonna say is, all throughout this I had the best experience ever kind of listening to the 4th book in the Windy City series. It's called Play Along. And so premise time, basically we follow this girl called Kennedy. She's like the only female member on staff for their baseball team or whatever. And the worst part is, as she was being hired, she was going to be offered the position of like second lead doctor or something like that, because she's like really smart and she's very much capable and accomplished enough to get that. It's just she's put under like a really sexist main doctor and whatnot, and he doesn't want her to have that, so he's already got something against her. He ends up putting her under like personal training and stuff, very much what she's underqualified for. But the thing is, now she's been offered like a new job with like a different team across the state and whatnot, and all she needs to do is kind of live out the season, just be the same girl she's always been, be responsible, have people like rely on her and not let anyone down, just keep her head down, so that this one season, as soon as it's done, she can kind of swap over to their team and get the job she's always wanted and kind of leave all of this behind, because she doesn't like the way he specifically treats her, and you know, she deserves more, especially career wise, because she's worked very hard for it. Now keep this in mind as background information. She's very much, because of the circumstances and everything that's explained later in the book with her family and her past and whatever, she's a type A person, so she's very reserved, she's very like capable in a workaholic sort of sense, so she's like driven, and not that that's wrong or anything, but she would not generally make this decision, except one day as she's in Vegas having the worst day of her life, because she's attending this like event that it's honestly disgusting that her family would force her to attend it, but she's there anyway. She ends up running into Isaiah. He's like one of the players on the team and whatnot, and they end up kind of leaving, ditching that place and then going off together, except they get drunk, they get married. She's married to a man in Vegas. She ends up marrying the team player in Vegas, and the worst part is the team does not allow fraternizing with anyone, and so now she's going to be let go from her job, and she can't, you know, get the new job with like a termination on her record, and she's like worrying and freaked out and scared. And so Isaiah actually comes up with the plan that they'll pretend that their elopement was actually planned all along and that they've been in love, and because of that they'll keep her, continue her job and whatnot, and by the end of the season she can finally leave and get the one she actually wants. So they have to keep up the charades, especially for the season, because there's like new management and leadership coming in and they need to pretend for everyone, but as they're pretending they're starting to fall for each other, and there's that. And basically Isaiah, he is a huge player, but the day he finds out that her ex-fiance kind of broke up with her and stuff, and now she's a single woman, he's like driven in this one goal that he needs to pursue her, because he's had this like crush on her for like years at this point, and so he's committed to like showing her that he could be like a great man and whatnot. He is not what his reputation shows out to be and whatnot, and so now he's been trying to get her attention, trying to show her that he's like responsible and capable and good enough for her, except, you know, what ends up happening? They end up getting married in Vegas, and suddenly he's scared that she won't like take him seriously and whatnot, considering the fact that he's always like flirty, he's like the golden retriever guy, and now, you know, they drunkenly got married. At the beginning she's even blaming it on him, and so he kind of wants to appear like better on her books and whatnot, so he ends up proposing that idea to kind of save her job. But also, as now they've got that one season to pretend, in his head he's got the goal that he'll show her that he's like a good husband, proper husband material, kind of remove all misconceptions of him that she's got in his head, and he'll actually show her what love looks like, because the way the situation was handled with her ex-fiance, it's kind of sad her family situation, the way they made her go through everything and whatnot. And so he'll show her love, and he'll show her that, you know, this time someone truly wants her and needs her, and it's not contractual or anything, except the whole problem is that, you know, both of their reasonings are correct. It's just he cannot leave by the end of the season to go along with her as they're falling in love, and she cannot like let the job go, because she really needs that now to kind of further her career and not live under someone else's thumb, that main like doctor guy. And so you basically start to fall in love with these characters as they're falling in love with each other, but you're not really sure if like a future can work out for them, simply because number one, like I said, he's got roots in Chicago, he literally cannot leave, and number two, she kind of needs to go. It won't be fair for her if she has to kind of stay on to the team, because she's already done that for like 3 years, and it's not nice, alright? Except, you know, as they're falling in love, they're trying to figure out where the boundaries like blur and whatnot, and what's going down with that. That's the concept, and all I'll say is this one did not disappoint. Everything I built up in my head for Isaiah Rhodes came true, because I've been wanting to read this ever since I finished the previous book in this last week, and all I'll say is this hits so hard. Isaiah, number one, I'm so obsessed with him. He's like flirty and cute and he's just so funny, and every time he opened his mouth I ended up probably giggling. And also he's got like depth to him, it's not just that, so that was also fun. And then there's Kennedy, and the way she got to open up for love, and the way, you know, from the beginning of the book she like changes and has this like massive character development that's actually shown in the pages, and it's like depicted beautifully to the end of the book, and suddenly she's this like person that she's always meant to be. It's just it was taken away from her, but now she can be. All I'm gonna say is this one was so good. If you haven't already gotten to it, please read it. It's not necessary that you have to read the books in order to get to this one, but I would suggest you do, because characters they introduced and their tension's been built up since the previous book, and so provide good context. And there's that, but then also there's the fact that you get to see the supporting cast of characters, all the other couples from the previous books, and the way all of them come together, their group dynamic, and I thought that was also really cool. And also their banter. Honestly, the entire book, I was swooning so hard, having the best time ever, because it's so sweet. He's colorblind for context, and so he ends up asking one of his like teammates and friends to kind of describe the color of her hair to him, because he can't necessarily detect that properly. And so every time he sees her, in his head he goes Kennedy K. Auburn. That's number one. And then there's so many things beyond that that come in place that is just so sweet to me. At the beginning, when he's finally taking her out for that drink after she agrees, after he's like been pursuing her relentlessly for like months at this point, and he's taking her out, she complains about the fact that her heels are hurting her feet, and so he buys her nice shoes just so she can have like a nice experience going for that drink with him. And there's so many other scenes I can go harping on about. I won't, because I don't want to spoil it, but it was so good. I think I'm gonna give this like 4 or 4.5 stars depending on what I feel like in the moment, because I literally just finished and I don't necessarily know what I want to rate it. If I keep thinking about it, it'll go higher, but at the moment I'm still confused, because I still think I like the previous book in the series more than this. And so if I were to rank, it would probably be at the moment Caught Up, Play Along, this one, and then Right Move, and finally Mile High. And yeah, that's about it, but still an amazing time. And looking down the line in the future, I end up changing my mind and feel like it, this could definitely go number 1, because it was so good. I cannot reiterate it hard enough. It was just the best time ever, and I had so much fun reading this. And it was fun to switch up genres in the middle, because while I'm in my thriller mood, this one hits so hard, especially with the marriage trope and whatnot, because those are always my favorites, and the sports team and all the big cast of characters. But also I didn't want to bore you guys out and myself by reading too many thrillers and then exhausting that genre, so switching over to this was kind of perfect, because I love reading this author's books and how slow burn and fun they can get, because they're on the longer side but they're always fun and they always leave me having the best time ever. And this was truly great. So now I can't wait to read the final book in the series, because that was also kind of spoken about, and at the moment at least I will be disappointed when I complete it, but I can't wait to see the next guy's story, because I've been waiting for that since book 1 in the series, Rio. So I'm waiting for that, and I will be. Until then, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to switch back to another thriller tonight or continue with romance, because I'm loving these two genres so much. Maybe throw in a fantasy, who knows, but for now, my plans are I'm gonna have dinner, since I've already finished with the book. I don't have to worry about today's. And then later in the night, as I come back up, maybe I'll continue my journal. But as I start the new book for tomorrow and whatnot, start it early if I get the time, I actually want to do my nails, because it's been about 20 days since I have them done and whatnot, and I'm kind of missing having color on my nails, which is so weird and probably not healthy, but I want it. So I'm gonna do it, and I don't know which color I will, but hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with my nails done as I was listening to the next book, and hopefully we'll be done early like we did kind of today and catch up with that as well. So that'll be fun, but regardless, I will see you all tomorrow. And already so far this video has been such a slay, because I've only found books that I've loved, and hopefully we continue that roll onward, because so far it's so good. It's day 5, we're running 5 for 5, or I guess whatever the previous 50 books out of how much we've read so far, for how many days it's been, because I'm not calculating that way. But we have gone ahead and finished the book. I actually finished it so much earlier, because I was able to lock in, yesterday night, today night, whatever you want to call it, and I ended up doing my nails, my toenails, so I gave myself like a nice pedicure, took the time out. I should probably do it more often, because it was really fun. And as I was working on that, I was also kind of listening to my book out, having the best time ever. And so in the middle, I kind of went through like a decent chunk of this, and then this morning locked in and finished it out. And so while I could have updated sooner, I just did not have the time, because I was busy with more college assignments that came in. So I'm gonna go get back to that now, because I'm still in the middle of a few. But until then, basically the update was to come in and say I finished our next book, which is the second one in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, and I needed to come speak about it, because I started the series in the previous video of this mini series, but then that one I enjoyed it. This one specifically I have mixed opinions. And so for a quick summary of the first book, because this one, if I summarize it, it would be a spoiler if you've not read it already. Basically, we follow a hopeless romantic, Lara Jean. Every time she has a crush on a boy, she writes him this love letter and she stores it away in like a box for safekeeping, almost like a way for her to vent and get her emotions out and then be able to move past him without having any regrets. So she never actually goes up to them and lets them know, she just writes it down. But then one day all of these letters are like accidentally mailed out, and suddenly everyone knows about her feelings for them, especially those 5 boys. And so all of them one at a time coming and confronting her, coming and asking her questions about it. It's kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, now she has to save face because one of the letters was actually written to her sister's ex-boyfriend, and she doesn't want to ruin any chances of her sister and her sister's ex-boyfriend getting together. So she has to pretend like she's moved on from those feelings, which is why one of the other boys who got a letter, he's the popular kid right now, but back in their day and whatnot, he wasn't like popular necessarily. She ends up asking him to kind of like pretend that they're together just for a little bit with her, so she can convince Josh, the ex or whatever of the sister, that she's moved on from him, save face like I said. But then Peter, the guy she's pretending with, he also needs someone to pretend with because it looks like hasn't moved on from his ex. And so there's that plot line. And this one, it continues right at the end of the previous one, and I still am of the firm opinion that so far these books would have been better off as only one single book rather than a trilogy, because I feel like it was perfect. The first book, it could have definitely been 5 stars. Smooth sailing, giggly, giving you all the 2000s banter, genuinely making me kick my feet. I had the best time until the very end, wherein there was this like random drama angle thrown in there just to continue it and make it a trilogy, because you can't have it all fun and games and then extend that into 3 books. No one would literally care. And so the drama that was thrown in there, that was extended throughout this one. There was like another love triangle situation introduced, not with the characters from the previous book, but with Peter and someone else in this book. And then there were different things going down in this, but overall I'll just say, again, not my favorite. Very much fell under second book syndrome because it wasn't as strong as the first book, number 1, and number 2, because I could not care less for the drama. It did not really work for me because I was just listening to it and having a not so great time overall. And so here we are. One thing I definitely did not like about this one specifically was the fact that Peter kept covering for his ex Jen, and while it does make sense with the reasoning we get towards the end of the book, I still feel like that situation could have also been handled better. But at the same time, they're all teenagers, they're all literally kids, so like, what are they going to do about it? And that was portrayed really well by the author, but that does not mean it did not piss me off. So overall, I'm going to say, I don't know, like 3.5 stars. I definitely did not also enjoy the other love triangle situation, because at some point I was just like, she should end up with the other guy, considering the fact that Peter was being a little disappointment in this one. But then now it's explained towards the end, and now I'm like going in with an open mind to the third book whenever I do, because I still want to see where it goes. It's just the certain events that took place in this one weren't necessarily my favorite, and here we are. But I am done with it regardless, and it was a quick one to get through it, so I'm happy anyway. I'm happy I do have the time regardless to sit down and work on other things now, because this was fast paced. It's just while I was listening to it, it definitely felt like it was dragging out at some bits, and I feel like, I don't know, it just does not work as a trilogy in my opinion. But then I don't know, that's my hill I'm gonna die on. You guys can stand on your own opinions. It's not the end of the world. Reading is subjective, and so here we are. Anyway, now that this is done, I will get to the next and probably the final book, I think, in the series, because it is a trilogy, in next week's, maybe the week after that video and whatnot, but I will soon. So until then, sit tight or whatever for my final opinion on the series, because the first one's definitely worth reading, this one isn't, and so the third one will actually tell us if the trilogy is worth it or not. But until then, I'm still excited to go watch the movies once I get the time, because I know they will be done great as long as they cut out the excess unnecessary bits. But until then, yeah, now that I have finished with this, I'm gonna go again lock in on my assignments, hopefully get those done, and then I don't know what I'm really in the mood to start tomorrow, because I'm gonna be so frank, I'm not sure. And so I'm gonna go look at my TBR, consider my options, and see what we're doing next. But I'll be listening to that again, hopefully getting a quick start on it tonight at least, because I do want to go back and do my fingernails. I actually did a color on my toes that I was kind of unsure about. It's like this mulled wine shade, and it kind of looks like black, but at the same time, if you're looking at it like really closely, it's like dark purple black. And I was kind of unsure about it, but looking at it now, it's kind of growing on me, and I want it on my nails too. So I will see if I get the time tonight. Apart from like assignments and stuff, I definitely will work on that and kind of listen to our next book. But if I don't, I'll still be listening at some point and hopefully getting through some early progress, and then come speak to you guys tomorrow directly about my thoughts and opinions on that one. So hopefully it'll be a good one I choose tomorrow, because we actually broke our streak of finding great ones with this one that we just read, and hopefully we get back on the good books pacing, because I was having a fun time with it, and now that it's broken I'm kind of disappointed, but hopefully we'll find some nice reads overall too soon. Hi guys, and now welcome to the very final day of this week's video, because I did have to come in to update you all for day 6 yesterday, but again, just like last week, I didn't really have the time, so I did go ahead and finish day 6, that was yesterday's book, yesterday itself, and today's day 7 will be catching up on that because I did finish the book as well. It's just I didn't really have the time to update, so I'm giving you like one big massive update now for both days 6 and 7 because the books are complete before I go and edit the video out, because then I need to be posting this tonight. But basically, to catch you up, this is the last time I spoke to you. All I've done is listen to audiobooks at this point. There's no specific timeline. I just kept listening in one go whatsoever, because as soon as I finished like yesterday's book, I needed to start today's immediately, because today then now I'm going to be editing all night. I don't really have the time to actually sit down and listen the way I was doing late in the night for all the previous books, which is why here we are. I'm still happy we got both of the books done. I feel like getting like an early start in the beginning of the week for like the next day's worth of books definitely helped, because at this point I was done with today's book in no time, and then I've already started some of the editing out of the way and I don't have to worry too much. But basically, now to catch you up on yesterday's book, because at this point, long story short is to say, I have finished both. Today's was called, I think He's Watching You When You Sleep or something like that, and it's supposed to be like a almost like Christmas themed stalker romance. And the thing is, I'll tell you guys honestly, having a stalker is like one of my number one fears, so I don't know why I keep bringing it to myself wherein I pick up stalker romances, hoping that it'll get me out of that zone and whatnot, because I'm genuinely terrified of it. But at the same time, I don't know why it feels like, the sort of therapy where they force you into like facing your fears and then you start to evolve from it. I don't know why I thought I'd maybe work into doing that with this book. And then also the fact that it's been 2026 for a little bit at this point, but I still feel like I'm stuck in 25. I wish I was joking, but genuinely time is so unreal, to the point where I thought if I read another Christmas book and pretend like it's over and whatnot, then I can move on to 26, or at least that's what I was telling myself. So I don't know why I felt like it, which is why I picked up another one of these books. This one we follow jewelry influencer Chloe. Day job basically involves like reviewing all these like pieces on her main account and stuff, and then while she's done with that and whatnot, her side hobby, I guess, that she follows by night is this other secret account that's like got her online other persona, so like her opposite or whatever. Is called Blackest Claw, doing stuff she generally would not do, and it's like on a whole other platform and stuff, because she's like living the sort of double life wherein by daytime everyone knows her as a sweet little girl, but then by nighttime she's just like completely different, and she's bringing out what she really enjoys doing in terms of her desires, and that wouldn't really be allowed on her main account, and she wouldn't be sponsored to like do pieces and stuff. So that's her life basically, and she's again alone by Christmas time and whatnot, the holiday season, because she lost her family a couple Christmases ago in this like accident. So now as she's grappling on what she's going to be doing about that, this year something special happens. She kind of runs into two different people. So one, in her physical real life, he's this firefighter guy called Jack, who's like shoveling her driveway and whatnot for her. And then online there's this guy, she doesn't really know him, but he's called like Night Watcher or something like that. I'm so confused. Winter Watcher, sorry. He's called Winter Watcher. Both of them start like sparking her in different ways. Jack is perfect for her, Chloe, by daytime and whatnot. I don't know why the author did that, because she's got like different personas and then whatnot. But when she's Chloe, Jack is perfect for her because he's like a sweet boyfriend. But when she's like Blackest Claw, her other account, then Winter Watcher is perfect. So she's trying to figure out who she likes better and whatnot, and she'll finally not be alone during Christmas time and whatnot. Except as it turns out, when you get the guy's POV, they're the same guy. It's not like a secret or anything. It's just the fact that he has been stalking her for a couple years now, because like I said, he's a firefighter. A couple Christmases ago, and now you'll know where I'm going with this, he was involved as one of the first responders on scene for someone whose parents were in this accident and whatnot, and so he's always felt protective of Chloe ever since, and so he's been stalking her, and now he's been kind of embroiling himself into her life to kind of partake, because he's like starting to fall in love with her and he wants to be part of it. And so they start this like anti-masked angle of like love affair and whatnot, and it gets great. But then also he's got like his own secrets he's hiding from her. The whole thing with the stalking is honestly frankly disgusting. He's crossing so many boundaries, and if she found out, she wouldn't really like him for him, would she? So that's basically the whole thing. And all I'll say is, there's so many things. Where do I start? that I hate about this book, because number one, the audiobook absolutely terrible. I hate it every second. The way they were doing the voice narration, I don't know why, because sometimes audiobooks, it makes you feel like it's giving like voice and life to the characters, but the way it was done in this one specifically, I don't know how to explain it to you. It was like getting on my nerves and my skin was literally crawling. Then there are the stalking bits. He went so far aboard, and I get that it's a stalker romance, and I get that I'm scared of it, so obviously this is gonna terrify the shit out of me, but he did so much, and he still got forgiven at the very end of it. That did not sit right with me. One day, someone should write a stalker romance wherein the guy does not get forgiven, so I can read that and feel happy about it, because I'm a cynic. But that was something that happened. And then also we have the whole insta love triangle situation going on at the beginning of the book that lasted far too long. And so all in all, I'll say this one didn't work for all the reasons I chose it for it to work and hoped that it would work. And so I should just stick to normal romances. I should just stick to reading my basic stuff, because this wasn't for me. And while it did give me like cozy winter vibes, because that's also something I was looking for, considering the fact that I don't want to be reading summer romances right now when it's like so cold outside, which is why here we are. It still did not fit the whole vibe check with the story and whatnot, and I found out it's a series, and I know I'm not going to continue it. So here we are. Didn't have like the best time ever. Did not like the author's writing style either, and I think all in all to say, maybe I should cut down on like the dark romance intake, because every time I pick it up once in a blue thinking, okay, this might be the one for me, I just end up hating it and it feels like a waste of my time. And so here we are, 2 stars. Moving on, did not really like it. But again, reading is subjective. This is your favorite book. Do not come after me, because it doesn't really matter. It's not that serious, which is why here we are. Now moving on to today's book. Now this is so funny. I have to give you a little bit of like background history. I ended up starting this one called The Bodyguard Affair, which is actually written by this author whose work I've read a couple times in the past. Her like influencer series, I think it's called, which is so funny because the previous book was an influencer, but this one actually started because it's her new standalone that came out, and the plot or whatnot kind of reminded me of one of my favorite romance books ever, The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. And so the whole reason I started this is because The Bodyguard, my favorite book that this one reminds me of, the author's actually been speaking about how it's getting adapted into a movie. And a couple nights ago, I was like scrolling on my Insta. I follow her and I got this like notification that she's posted and whatnot, so instantly ran to check it, see if there's any update about the movie. They announced the name for it because they can't keep like the same name as the title, because that's already a movie, so they have like a different name they're using for the movie when it comes out. And so all I'm gonna say is, one of my favorite romance books ever got its movie name drop, which is not similar to the romance book in any way, and so I was in a mood to like kind of reread that book, kind of get back into the spirit. But I think I will later in the year, sooner to when the movie release comes out, because they're saying it's going to be like a Christmas movie. And so to kind of hold it off until then, because I didn't want to read it and bore you guys in this video and then again towards the end of the year, I figured I'll pick up something with a similar premise. And so I ended up choosing this one. Basically, we follow Andy. So we have the Prime Minister of Canada, we have his wife, and his wife's personal assistant is Andy. And again, she also lives like a double life, but it's not as risque as Chloe and whatnot. Wherein here, Andy, she's working as the assistant for the Prime Minister's wife of Canada and whatnot during the daytime, kind of helping the wife with her personal affairs and the kids and everything else, the politics and whatnot, balancing everything. But then in her own time and whatnot, as her own secret hobby, she has this thing where she writes romance books. So she's like a romance writer, having a good time. Now in modern day, she isn't really getting the time to write romance, but back in the day she used to, and she had a couple titles published and whatnot. Except very randomly, something goes viral and suddenly one of her books becomes a bestseller. It's called The Prime Minister and Me. And while it was written under a pen name, people online are easily able to like connect it back to her, and they are now wondering if she's having an affair with the Prime Minister because she's like in close quarters, which is not true. She admires him like a brother. Now she's like freaked out that she's gonna lose her job. The lady she's working for, the wife, and now she's like clearly not okay with it, because obviously there's like a lot that comes to light and whatnot, considering the fact that her husband has like a novel written about him, and now she's wondering if her assistant's feelings are like platonic towards him because they have like a crumbling marriage and whatnot. And then there's all these other things going down to the point where now we have Andy kind of coming in clutch to like make a plan to kind of save her job, try to save their marriage, try to figure out how to like control the shitstorm of the media by just saying that she's actually not interested in the Prime Minister. Sure, it's like a romance book, but it's not written by her, it's by someone else. Isolate the profile. And then she goes ahead and declares that she's dating the head of security detail for him and whatnot, the prime minister, so his bodyguard essentially, which is what kind of reminded me of my favorite book. But basically she's dating Nolan, who is the head of security there, and so she's very much in love with him. Why would she care about any of this? And that kind of helps the media shitstorm die, but at the same time now her feelings are very much getting real, and that's the concept. On the other hand, like I said, we follow Nolan, the guy, and he is so sweet. He's like always been moving around in life without any roots because of the way his childhood played out, but now he's back in town to kind of look after his like sick mom and kind of deal with her affairs, sort everything out before he's going again on some like faraway assignment. And so until then, for now, he's just taken up like the job as the security detail for the prime minister, wherein he runs into Andy. And surprise surprise, a few years ago they had this like very failed sort of one night stand situation. So now that she's pretending to fake date him, he has to also kind of keep his feelings in bay because he's always loved her since, and you know, there's all of that comes with it. But at the same time, he's leaving in a bit, so regardless of what happens between the two of them, he's gonna be gone. It cannot persist and continue, which is why that's also the premise. And all I'll say is this one was much better. It was a breath of fresh air in comparison to the previous one. It wasn't very great, I'll be so for real, but it was like a palate cleansery sweet sort of rom-com. It's not the best but not the worst, definitely not memorable. I'll forget in like only a few days at this point, but it was great in the middle to read, especially as like a pick-me-up after the previous disappointment of a book, which is why here we are. I did have a good time overall, and I'm gonna say this was very mindless because I was done again in a couple sittings of listenings and I had a good time overall. So it wasn't like the most incredible book ever, but it definitely did remind me of like the author's other series that I've started, and it gave me good enough like butterfly vibes at some bits, and you know, it was kind of funny at the others, especially the way the two of them interact, and he's like telling her that she should be more proud of herself and whatnot, bringing again life back into her life. And so overall it was a sweet book, nothing too crazy to write home about, but it was a fun time to read while I was reading it, which is why I'm gonna give this one 3 stars, and again happy that I got to it. But yeah, with the conclusion of those 2 romance books, we have reached the end of this specific video now. I am going to be continuing reading the rest of this mini series and whatnot throughout the rest of January, so weeks 6 and 7, which is why you don't have to worry about waiting too long for seeing the conclusion of this like mini series, reading 50 books in 50 days, because it's happening this month. I know I had the time for it this month, which is why I'm trying to force it and finish it off now itself, which is why again you don't have to wait too long on the edge of your seat for that content to come. It's coming. I'll be probably recording the next week's worth as you're watching this week's. But yeah, regardless, hopefully you guys did have a fun time coming along with me in today's video, and if you did, like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube things, you know how to do them. I think I will switch up genres for next week's video though, because like this one specifically, while it was fun listening to audiobooks and getting so much of my work out of the way, one thing that did not really have a great time with was the fact that we started off so strong in the genres, but now at the very end of this week, I'm sick of romance. Honestly, it's not working for me anymore. I do want to go to mystery, but I'm kind of intimidated. And fantasy, we know from last week's video, it takes too long and I get too burnt out, which is why we'll just have to see what I end up doing for next week's vlog, which is why, again, stay tuned for that, like I said. But it's definitely happening and it's definitely coming, and I know I have like a set TBR that I'll still be looking forward to hopefully getting to in these videos and whatnot, because there are some good ones on there regardless that I can't wait to get to, and you know, do my nails too, and hopefully do all these other fun things too. So until then, like I said, stay tuned for that video, or maybe even my journal video, because I'm also working on that, and maybe that's also a potential contender that will be posted in the month of Jan anyhow. But until then, I'll see you guys very very soon while I finish out the series and whatnot. And so take care, have a great rest of your day, stay safe out there. I hope you guys had like a fun time coming along with me, and thanks for watching. And now I'll see you all directly next week. So until then, bye.